All right, we're going to do this one more time, and if it doesn't work, I'm done. So, there is a term I use. It's called reason you suck speech. And I've applied it to two separate addresses given by two separate individuals. And the characteristics of this form of speaking is when you have the person name one thing about you that is good or that they consider to be good, and then name five or six things or even more about you that they think are bad. And this can really be applied whenever a majority of what they have to say is just negativity, negativity, negativity. Um, and I guess it goes that back to why I think you have this group of people who can just go ahead and do that. It all boils down to lack of empathy. You know, the ability to put yourself in someone else's position. So, for example, um, for these two people, let me say, well, the envoy, yeah, we're having some major technical difficulties, but if the two people who gave me these speeches were to put themselves in my position, that of a person who is having someone or someone's tell you that you have one redeeming quality and everything else about you is horrible, they would hate it. And I wouldn't blame them for disliking it because no one enjoys being, spoken about negatively for 20, 30 minutes or even really at all. Especially if they have a conviction what they are and why they are the way that they are. But you'll see similar patterns related in other, just the conversation on the internet. Um, you have people who will post online, something about themselves, something about. I'll read what Envoy's writing in a moment, but they'll post something that has to do entirely with them, and you'll have another person who, by their own design, chooses to go and read what the person says, and tells them to quit doing what they're doing, or go jump off a bridge or something else that is what most of us would consider to be uncalled for. Let me read what Envoy wrote. I have a theory of why people are much more mean to each other. I think it comes down to society. Think about neighbors don't even greet each other anymore. Is that down to a shift to how people view religion? Is that because of government? Maybe we live in cities now and not tight knit communities. Who knows? No, I fully agree with that. With the possibility of those theories, but I was going to say that you have to also factor in, thanks to the internet's allowing of people to remain anonymous, we can feel a lot more comfortable typing something nasty to someone versus saying it. I told you about the woman last year. Let me say a little Dirk that I got into one argument with, and she was telling me about how terrible I was. And then when we get on a call, she's completely timid and docile and just doesn't want to. She would not speak in the same way that she did by text. And I don't bring this up to continue to mock her or anything, but it's done to let you know, when you have a veil of just not having to directly state it to the person, you become more comfortable with your ability to speak out against whatever you think they're doing. Even someone that you think is beneath you, you feel empowerment from not having to worry about them hearing your voice or knowing who you are or anything. And I've had times where that same thing drives me. I go, oh man, I wish I could say this to this person. But a lot of times, I always follow my golden rule of just, if you don't like someone doing it to you, don't do it to them. Because I will admit fully, I am no saint when it comes to being mean. I think we all have done that at some point. But what I've tried to do in recent years is only be more expressive of it um, if the person started it. So, for example, if Envoy and I are just talking and he calls me an idiot, I'm gonna feel, like calling him one back or retaliating. But if he respects me, I'm gonna respect him. Um, and I find it sad that this very simple concept a lot of people don't seem to get. But also, what you have to factor in is that all of us, whether we live to be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, are here for a limited amount of time. And while I would usually tell you that, oh, because you're here for such a short time, don't say it to anybody that you don't like. No, no. I am saying that when you have a period that you don't, we don't know how long we're going to live, factored in with just the uncertainty of whether or not we're going to enjoy the same. Basically, what I'm saying to you is that you have one life, with no idea if you're going to have a second or third one. And you have these people who seem to have a proclivity for making it the most miserable existence that they possibly can. And that is what I hate more about contemporary society than probably anything else. We are all human, we're all vulnerable, bodily, in some cases emotionally. And rather than try to, because see, my thing is this: even if you don't like a person, or you think somebody is stupid or whatever, leave them alone. Um, the fact that we can't even get people to just, stop doing things that are, they're things they wouldn't want done to them is the best way to put it. Case in point right there. What happened to Envoy and Dirk? They must have fled out of here. I just think that's another facet of it I wanted to mention. As I told you before, I had a person who gave me a speech last year that I really despised. Not them, but the speech. Um, did I miss your comment? Oh, we're viewed as, now people are still labeling each other through. Oh yeah, they've been doing. They're gonna just keep doing that forever. It's ridiculous. But I was gonna say, when this person gave this speech, they told me that I was different in my own way, and that these other people were different in their own way. And these people, because they were different, deserve to be accepted for that difference, because I'm allowed to be the way I am. Now, literally, within months of that statement being made, one of the exact same people that was spoken about proceeded to criticize my way of doing things. And so when that was said, again, without any starting of it by me, I just lost any desire to not, just go after them in the same manner that I was done to. As far as just, oh man, look what this person's doing. That person's doing this. Oh, that's correct. It goes back to a belief that I have, which is I can fully accept if someone finds, politics, history, anything I'm into to be boring. But you cannot tell me to just let it, just go and do what you do, and I'm supposed to just sit there and accept that and not have a problem with it. And most people don't do that. That's the craziest thing. You will have, and I want if Envoy and Dirk are you guys, Dirk is saying he ran back in here, but I want you to think about this. Most people do not go online or go in person and tell somebody you're awful because of this reason. Most people, if they're not indifferent to what you're doing, at the very least they could care less, or they couldn't care less. Basically, it's this thing of just a general desire to do their own thing that a lot of us seem to have in like large droves. And so when those people are not getting critiqued for doing their own thing, you just kind of say, man, why can't I be like them? Why can't I have no one that is trying to tell me how awful I am? Why is that evading me? I mean, think about what the ridiculousness we had last year with the, or even earlier this year with the relationship comments. That topic did not become tiresome to speak about because of the way that the women were acting by itself. It became frustrating to be crapped on by the women that you're trying to talk to, and then have someone add insult to injury by writing whatever to you online. And even now I have stuff that people still will try to go on and leave a comment. And I keep telling them, you have such a short amount of time. And this was really what I tried to press to all of the, I guess not people I encountered, but just a lot of just interactions I've had over the last 2 or 3 years, where it's based on the idea that you can't control how others feel, which is why I've said multiple times. And so it always feels ridiculous when someone tries to use another person's remark about you to tell you how bad you are. Now, if it's something that you did to them, okay, fine, whatever. But we're talking about oh, I don't like this person, someone says, and then another person goes, see, they said they don't like you, so there must be something wrong with you. And then you'll have like 3 or 4 other people that you get along with just fine. And no one brings them up. No one, uses them to your defense. And I guess I think another reason that enables what I'm talking about to go on is the apathy that we have when it comes to just seeing it. Like, a lot of times I'll read comments, like the ones I'm talking about, where you'll have someone who will say, oh, this person is so dumb, they're so ugly, whatever. Like, if Dirk is still in here, I want to give him an example with the Ocasio-Cortez thing. Now, she's made a statement I didn't like about the Shapiro debate. That was whatever. But there actually is a video. It's called "The Worst of Her," or something like her name. And then they took this picture of her where she's looking like this or has her eyes extended. And all these people are just sitting there commenting on the thumbnail and not the actual content of the video or what she talked about. Yeah. Well, first of all, whenever you do a video, and just even with CGI, whenever something moves, it's most likely going to be caught with, some kind of strange expression. If you pause this and I go, you're going to you're going to look at that and probably laugh later on. But it was the idea that you could take a photo of someone and just comment, and completely obfuscate whatever, like the actual clips that are shown in that. And I know that, yeah, it's gotten a number of views. It's really weird because I think there's like 3 or 4 minutes where it's not even her talking; it's some other person just refuting her points or whatever. But my point to you is that when people can just her eyes, the only thing people were commenting about and making a big deal of it. Yeah, that goes back to the lack of substance. That's another key issue of this. Um, when we talk about the lack of time that we have, right? Just to do much of anything at all, no one's really going to argue against that. For the most part, if they're rational. But when you talk about, okay, that's why you should leave this person alone, and just, let them go, then that's when they start getting defensive. I can talk about whoever I want. I can say anything about whoever I want. Envoy says, I had to go to the bathroom. Sorry, I have to quickly do something. I'll be back in a minute. He's going to go get something to eat, probably. But yeah, I want to clarify, this is not meant to say never critique anything, but if you're just going on someone's stuff to say this sucks, like when we had the Butch Hartman controversy, which completely died down by now to no one's shock because people have attention spans that don't really last that long. The video of him that was on Twitter where he was talking about, weak rhymes with critique, and you shouldn't criticize someone if you've never done anything. While I don't think that should stop someone from being able to watch something and go, here's my problem with this, I don't like this part, whatever. I do get where it's frustrating to be so invested in yourself and then have somebody just come around and tell you you're just so horrible. Whether it's you or something you worked on or whatever. I know what it's like to sit there and just constantly try to get something done and then have someone try to tear down what you've been attempting to build or otherwise construct. So that part of what he was saying resonated with me even if I didn't agree with the overall message. But see, you wouldn't get that kind of balance, because I'm saying that as someone who was disgusted by that whole scandal and his involvement with that. But I could still pick and choose. Like, I feel as though that's what I'm talking about. That's different from just being mean to be mean. That's a valid critique. Okay, I like this part, but the overall thing I don't really like. Okay, this person I've never seen before says, the nature of the internet makes these things a lot worse because people don't have to take direct response for their self-expression. At least in the olden days, people had to own up. Dirk says, when someone is only smearing / mudslinging is what gets me. Exactly. Okay, so let me respond to Sally. Yeah, it all goes back to I had that Keyboard Warriors, I think it was a stream last year. And it goes back to that where you have these people who are both in real life and in the internet who seem to get off on telling someone how terrible they are and, masking what they are, or just pretending as though they would not be bothered if the same thing were said to them. You see, the people who I told you gave me these reason you suck speeches where they tell you have one good thing and like 7 or 8 other things about you are bad. I told both of them your remarks were, disgusting. And they both, said, "Oh, I don't understand what's the big deal about it." And I left it at this because I didn't feel like having a ridiculous back and forth. If you had someone come up to you and tell you, I can think of one good thing about you, and here's 5 or 6 other that are bad, would you like that? Would you think, wow, this is someone that is helping me? And neither one could answer. One tried to almost say yes, and then he kept looked as if he was thinking about it. But the point is, people who make the kind of mudslinging comments that Dirk is talking about would not like the same being done to them. And so rather than, because there's plenty of stuff you can actually go on here and try to argue back and forth with. The political stuff, I would love an actual like discussion where people don't sit there and like close their brains and just pretend like nothing's going on. The whole point of that is for you to be able to say, I don't agree with you on this because of yada yada yada. You wouldn't say, I don't agree with you because you're ugly, which is an objective, a subjective thing that, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it wouldn't really, there's not much I could do about that. Uh, Sally says also people on the internet have the option to think about and edit and even delete what they say, which are dangerous options for expression. Yeah. It just feels like people write whatever they want and can get away with it. And look, the saddest part is that even if someone has an account, we don't know who they are, you still can like buy that person's username in a lot of cases, go and like see their other posts or messages. And it seems if no one ever takes the concentrated effort to just say, why are you doing this, or this is wrong, or this is off. Like I've seen so many people post, I hope this senator or this congressman dies. And I just sit there and go, are you serious? And no one, it seems like no one other than, which I don't even respond with half the time, no one seems to care. They just look at it like whatever. People can get upset to such an extent that they want you to just be completely snuffed out of life and express it, online as if we've never had any assassinations or killings or people acting out on that desire. It's insane. I do get kind of amazed when I read these comments because I question just like the purpose of it all. Like if you don't like someone's stuff, just stop watching it. If you don't like someone's tweets, stop reading them. If you don't like, so, like the only people I can kind of see it for are those politicians, and even then, you can vote them out. Like you'll never see the people who are upset with um, Trump, for example, going and checking their representatives and seeing if they voted for stuff he wanted or not, because it takes too much work. You'll never see someone who is calling me ugly just sit there and actually debate and argue against whatever I'm saying because it takes too much. We have all of these little, same thing with that Ocasio-Cortez video. I can name things that she said I disagree with, but I will still tell you that picture and all the emphasis on the little memes, it's stupid. She ran an issue-based campaign. Um, she has a few positions I don't agree with her on, but I'm not going to sit there and start whining about her photo and talking about, oh my God, the crazy eyes and all that other nonsense. All right, I think everybody's tucked out. You're all going to bed. I think I've pretty much said everything I need to say. So this isn't just saying, automatically if you ever critique something that's being mean, but calling somebody, uh, ugly, um, or maybe telling them that they need to go die or any of that nonsense. I just don't see the point of it. Like what about any of that would make me want to engage with that person? And the saddest thing is that we have people in real life who act this way, and they can get away with it because no one ever checks them. I mean, when I had the second person give the reason you suck speech, it must have been literally a day or two later I had somebody tell me to get over it. Someone who I know has never had that said to them. But again, the lack of empathy prevails, and the few of us that get it have to kind of band together in a little small group to survive the what just as I said, I think 2 weeks ago, feels like the Twilight Zone, where everything that should be common knowledge is almost hard to get at this point. It should be common knowledge that if you don't like someone, you don't watch their stuff. Um, it should be common knowledge that if you think someone is an idiot, why would you go and read their stuff, especially if they're not in office or affecting your life whatsoever? Envoy says, do you think the lack of empathy has to do with religion? I don't know, because even when I was more into Catholicism before, I just kind of got sick of pretty much everything. I still didn't like, what I see done to others, because I thought about it being done to me, and just it didn't resonate. But yeah, I know that there is a call to. I will say that in just my experiences with people, I just don't think the religion has to do with it. I think that it has more to do with just the personality of that individual. Yeah, just like Dirk says. But I find it really sad that we have so many people who just like keep trying to play this game where they don't get what's being said. What advice would you give to deal with such cases? Obviously, trying to engage meaningfully with such people seems futile and counterproductive. So, alternatives would you suggest / prefer? Um, Maybe just ignore them. I guess what I do generally is that I have a list of people in real life that have done this. They don't know they're on it. It's not, and I haven't written anywhere. It's not like I have an enemies list. It's just this thing in my head where, oh yeah, this person did that, this person did this, and it's very hard to get on this list. There's only about maybe 5 people on there. 4, small number. Bottom line is that what I try to do is focus on those that I like, and if you have the ones in real life come around, the ones that do things similar to the ones online, in terms of these nasty comments, you just have to accept it for what it is. In many cases, you try to avoid them, and if that doesn't work, it's a moment in time. Um, the way my mind works is that I'll have like a hour or two of a confrontation with somebody, and it'll just loom with me for a month or so. I go, wow, they really did. It's not the only thing that goes through my head, but it's just something I consistently think about. And I think that the one good thing that can come from thinking about these nasty interactions online and in person is that you become a lot less likely to engage with it. Like your mind becomes. So, for example, I'm not. It must have been about 3 years ago. I started the trend of calling myself unattractive because I knew that in place of trying to argue with what I was saying, people would say I was ugly. So I would just go and say, I'm not attractive, and it diffused it before it even started. So I got used to just that idea. Um, what else? What's another good one? Oh, what's Dirk saying? There's too many people and not enough time to even engage. I'm trying to answer this question though. I want to make sure that she gets what I'm saying. Just yeah, it's mainly just accept that these people are this way. Accept that you are the way that you are, and try to limit the interactions you have with them as much as possible, because you will be surprised by how the smallest of things can set somebody off. I had a man who I walked past multiple times a day complain to me that I wouldn't say hi to him every single time I walked past him. And I have never had that kind of confrontation with anybody but him. I think it goes deeper than that. People put themselves in boxes and groups and don't want to have a debate. They want to push their agenda. Yeah, well, look, Envoy, my whole thing is if people, want to do that, don't engage with them. Don't give them the time of day. due to them with a lot of these, I don't want to say, that's the thing. It's funny how you can have people who actually sit here and think it's just me being like disenchanted with females. I described a while back all the male friends I had that just completely, went their own way or just cut off all ties. But due to, go back to Sally's question, due to them, what these friends of mine did to me, just don't give them the time of day. If you see their comment, ignore it. You can't have a back and forth if you don't contribute. Now, obviously, you'll see something you want to respond, but know in your heart of hearts that person has made up their mind that you're awful, even if you think you're not, and just keep it rolling. I tried to do that on my own channel for a while, just, to talk to people and be optimistic that if you gave them information about whatever, they could change, and I just dropped it. That's when, if I want to hear what they have to say and sometimes watch themselves implode from the words they are saying. Uh, yeah. But I hope you get what I'm saying, Dirk. If you see someone's comment and, you don't like it, or it's just, you don't think it does you justice, ignore it. I've chosen to do that because I don't have the power to control others' minds, nor the temperament to just go back and forth with most of them. So I just leave them to their own vices. If they want to sit there and watch and follow someone that they call themselves opposing or not liking, that isn't, in control of their life at all, that's what they choose to do. It's what they choose to do. It just feels so pointless to me, but they see reason to it. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully you understood what I'm saying. Um, like I said before, life is too short and also too miserable by circumstances out of our control, whether it's some hurricane or getting fired from a job or working for pennies at some restaurant, to really even, be saddened by most of this or take most of it seriously. So thank you.